Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we are going to be analyzing the political future of the state of Ohio and taking a look at what has happened in the past and what's to come in the future. Before we get started though, feel free to like this video, subscribe to this channel if you have not already. I post, ideally at least 3 to 4 times a week, sometimes 5 if I'm not busy. Also follow me on social media. On Twitter, I'm at UEP or UEP_YouTube. I'm also on Instagram at UEP_YouTube. Instagram, I mostly post some cool maps, so if you like mapping and you're into, especially redistricting, go follow me on Instagram. That's a lot of stuff there. And then on Twitter, mostly posting political updates and retweeting stuff I find cool. So yeah, feel free to follow me on both those platforms. I would greatly appreciate it. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at Ohio. And, like I said, looking at the past, we've got some election results from past years here, and we'll be taking a look at what's to come in the future. Now, let's just take a look at 2020. So, in 2020, Donald Trump won the state of Ohio by about 8%, which, was quite the impressive margin in my eyes. I know there were some people who said that he was going to win it by 8, and we're not that surprised when he did win it by this much, but I'll be forthright here. I thought he was going to win it by 4 or 5, so the 8% margin that he won it by was, in my eyes, an overperformance, and, I think he did very well in Ohio, especially considering that he lost the presidential election, and, Ohio, up to that point had voted for the winner of every presidential election since 1960, and when that changed, I think that surprised a lot of people. There were a lot of people who thought that since Biden was going to win, he was going to barely carry Ohio, but in the end, trends changed. Ohio's not, bellwether states usually are similar to the nation and usually have a knack for voting similar to the nation. In 2018, that didn't really happen because in 2018, I think Ohio Republicans, so you can see they won the generic ballot by 5% in Ohio, and then on the other hand, nationwide Democrats won it by 9%, so Ohio still voted 14% to the right of the country, and in 2020, that didn't really change because Trump won it by 8%, Biden won the national environment by 4.4%, so Ohio voted about 12.5% to the right of the country, which, just is not, it's not a recipe for really being a bellwether and sitting with the country. The same thing happened with Missouri. Missouri was a bellwether for basically all of the late 19th or 20th century, and then, it started to shift a lot to the right compared to the rest of the country, and then, 2000, Bush wins it by, I think 5 or something, and he loses the popular vote by about half a percentage point, and so by that point, Missouri was consistently voting to the right of the country, and then in 2008, Obama went to the popular vote by like 9%, nationwide, and then Missouri votes barely for McCain. So I think Ohio's kind of heading down the Missouri path, as you can see here, and because of that, I think it's not really getting the attention it used to get. Even 4 years ago, because 4 years ago Ohio was considered very much in play for Hillary Clinton. In 2020, Biden, he had a chance there. It wasn't necessarily done, but it just didn't have the same focus. He was focusing more on Wisconsin or North Carolina or Georgia or Arizona than on Ohio, and I think that's going to come more in the future for Democrats. So to take a look at what happened in Ohio, so Biden did very well in urban areas. Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, the 3 C's. They're all in you got Hamilton County right here, you have Franklin County right here, and you've got Cuyahoga County right here. Biden won all of them. He won Hamilton by the least. He won Hamilton by about 16% in 2020, which was kind of a margin that you might expect to see, but at the same time, so he won Hamilton by about 16%, which was better than Clinton, as you can see. I'll pull up this map. Clinton won it by, I think, 5 or 6% less. If I can find Hamilton, I know it swung left, or at least it swung about 6% to the left. And then he also did very well in Franklin, Columbus. He did well in Cuyahoga. He also won Lucas County, which is where Toledo is. And then Athens County voted for him, but that's only because it's a college town. It's where the University of Ohio is. So college towns typically vote Democrat. Then you also have Montgomery County, which is where Dayton is. And then Akron is in Summit County. So all the big cities like Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, they voted big for Biden. And then some of the smaller sized cities like Toledo or Akron or Dayton, they came in for Biden as well. So in my eyes, the most interesting county for Democrats in 2022 and 2024 in Ohio is not actually a county that they won. It's Delaware County, which is a suburb, an affluent white suburb of Columbus. And, the reason I think Democrats should be optimistic about their chances here is because in 2016, Clinton lost Delaware County by about 16%. So it was safe for Donald Trump. Now, in 2020, Biden ended up losing it by 7. So this is like the first time, I think I saw a stat, it was like first time in like decades that Franklin County, or that Delaware County voted to the left of the state of Ohio as a whole. So that is, it also trended like much more to the left than Ohio did. I think Ohio like trended like barely anyways. It was like the same margin as 2016. But the thing is that Biden did so much better in Delaware that it was, one of the biggest shifter towards Democrats. As you can see, it sticks out on this map. It was a 9-point swing, and I don't think I think might have been the county that trended most towards the Democrats, as you can see here. I don't think that there's a county that really rivals it. Union and Franklin were pretty big for Biden. Biden did quite well in Cincinnati, Hamilton, Butler, Warren. But I think, Delaware was the county that swung most to the left in Ohio, and that is because it's a suburb. It's because, suburbs are becoming more socially liberal. Donald Trump did very badly in the suburbs in 2020, and in Ohio, he might have won Delaware County, but it still was not a very good result for him because, Biden, as you can see, like if you look at a precinct map, which I'm not going to pull up because it'll lag my computer, but, Hamilton's geography, or Delaware's geography, is good for Republicans because they have a lot of rural areas up here and then some 50-50 suburbs here, and they usually win it by 10 to 20%. And, Biden comes in here, he wins a lot of these suburbs down closer to the southern part of the county, and he, doesn't really do too well in the rural areas up north. But when he comes in and wins the suburbs like that, he flips so many precincts, flipped a lot of smaller towns outside of Columbus that, at least I think that's important for Democrats. And we could see a similar thing in Wood County, which is kind of working-class suburbs of Lucas County, or Toledo, I guess I should say. So the difference between... So Wood did not really trend too much to the left compared to 2016, or, I guess compared to Delaware, didn't really do anything. It was about 0.4% more Democratic than 2016. And, Wood is kind of similar to Macomb or to Summit County. Not Summit, Lorain County. This is Summit County. Lorain County or Macomb, in that it is very split between working class voters and suburban voters. So, if I had a way of telling, which I do not, because they don't have county by county exit polls, I wish they did. I would pay so much money for that. That would help me so much. But if there was a way to measure this, I would guarantee you that Wood County, suburban voters in Wood County that were more well off, definitely shifted towards Biden. With working class voters probably shifted a little bit more towards Trump. And it's not because Biden did worse than Clinton with working class voters. It's just the working class voters came around more for Trump in 2020 than they did in 2016, which was something that I did not really predict. Which is why I think my final county map I had Biden actually winning Wood County, which did not end up aging well because he lost it by about 7%. I guess I should say almost 9 or 8%. Now I think that's enough talk about this map. Again, Democrats are going to start to improve in Delaware County. They might win back Wood. I honestly do not know about Wood or Lorain, because Lorain actually flipped from blue to red, and we're going to have to really see where these trends go, because working class voters, it's hard to tell where they're trending because of Trump did so well with them, but at the same time Democrats have really, really bad outreach, and they do not seem to know how to win working class voters, and I will say that. Now, I guess since we talked about Democratic trends, we'll be done with that. Now we're going to talk about some Republican trends in Ohio. So, as you can see, in 2016, actually, Trump, he obviously did very well with rural voters in the state of Ohio. He won all these counties by massive margins that were, pretty unforeseen. Now, if you go to change from 2012, basically all of Ohio shifted red, but especially some of these rural areas, as you can see. So, just Morrow County, which is not really county I'm too familiar with. I don't really know that much about it, but I'm just going to look at it from a logistical standpoint here. It shifted. Look, Trump won it in 2016. Let's see, he won it by about 50% compared to a 25% victory, or 24% victory for Romney in 2012. So, in some cases, like Morrow County, these areas shifted, I guess they got 2 times as red, which is, pretty big, especially when, Clinton did a little better than Obama, as you can see in Delaware County, which is the only blue in a sea of red. And, this really helped Trump rack it up in Ohio. He didn't really need to win these counties by that much because he just did so well, and with working class voters up north, like Lorain County shifted, it was a 15-point Obama county, then became barely a 0.1% Clinton County, then flipped in 2020. And so Trump just did so well with working class voters in areas like up here. He also just did so well with rural voters because, Mitt Romney did not really have that appeal to rural voters. And, Trump, he won them in 2016. He did even better with them in 2020. I thought that personally, I thought that Clinton, that was kind of like the worst a Democrat could do. But as we saw in 2020, Biden did a lot worse than Clinton in a lot of these rural areas. Morrow County, which we just talked about, got 5%, even more Republican. Whether those trends continue, I don't really know because rural voters are increasingly Republican. I think that the quote unquote culture war has shifted polarization, and as a result of that polarization, rural voters are now much more conservative than they were even 8 years ago, and because of that, rural areas are getting more and more Republican and more polarized and, less elastic. Because we used to see, rural areas, maybe they vote Republican on the presidential level, but then they vote for a Democrat in the Senate, like in Montana or West Virginia or Ohio or Kentucky, right? And we used to see this, but now it's very rare. The only time we really see rural Appalachian regions voting for Democrats at the congressional level is with Joe Manchin or Sherrod Brown, but even Sherrod Brown hasn't really done too well in rural Ohio. In 2018, he didn't really do that well because of how polarized the nation was, even though he was a great incumbent. Now, I guess I will say that I think rural areas are trending conservative or Republican, and I want to say more conservative because, look, Republicans are the more conservative party, and rural voters are voting Republican because of that, but I think it's more a conservative thing than it is a Republican thing, because I'm not really convinced that the Republican Party is good at winning rural voters. I just think it's kind of that Democrats are so bad with outreach and, getting their point across to rural voters that they're shifting Republican. So Barack Obama he was a very strong candidate. He is what to do if you're running a campaign as a Democrat, and he did very well relative for, rural voters. He won, in a lot of kinds that Trump won by 55, Obama only lost them by 20. So there's something to be said about his candidate quality as as someone who did win Ohio both times. And so, I think Democrats in the future are going to have a bit of a problem with getting, that kind of Obama person. Because, look, they've got strong candidates. They have, I think John Ossoff has a good, bright future. I think Roy Cooper could do something. Sherrod Brown's still out there. Stacey Abrams is really interesting. But none of those people, maybe Sherrod Brown, but even then, he's not a new politician. He's 70 years old, right? So he's probably not going to be running for president in 12 years from now. Just saying, he's probably going to be retired in 10 years from now. But people like John Ossoff or Stacey Abrams, the Democrats are becoming a much more socially liberal party that isn't really a populist or working class party, and that could change. I'm not going to predict the party in 20 years from now, but what I will say is the Democrats are not showing me that they can win back the rural areas or even get them back to Obama margins because they're not trying to. They're just not. In 2020, Biden did not go to any parts of rural Ohio or to, he didn't try to boost Democratic Senate candidates in, like Montana, for example, which, if Democrats won Montana in the Senate race, they probably would be doing a lot better right now than they are currently. So Biden did not really. And I guess Montana's a bad example. Maybe like Iowa. I think Iowa's a better example because he could have, Greenfield outran Biden by I think 2 or 3%. And if Biden had done a little better on Iowa and only lost it by 2 or 3%, it would have been a blue state in the Senate. So, when you talk about Biden not really trying to win rural areas, he did well in some rural areas, but he didn't really do that well in where it mattered, like Iowa or Ohio or some Senate races like Kansas or Montana or even North Carolina. So I do think that there's something to be said about that. Now, I guess I'll move on from this tangent because I want to get to all these tabs that I have open. I don't want this video to be a filibuster. So to take a look, actually I don't really need that right now, but to take a look at the 2012 presidential election, Ohio was a blue state. So this is the last time presidentially, I guess I should say at the presidential level. It's presidentially a word, I think it is, but whatever. Obama won Ohio by about 2%. Romney did quite well in a lot of rural Ohio. Now, not as well as Trump, obviously, as you can see. Talked about Morrow County. He won it by about 25% or 24%, maybe 24.5%, which is obviously worse than Trump. But he still won it. He didn't lose rural Ohio. He still won it. Franklin County was for Obama. Hamilton County was, I think, narrowly an Obama county. So Hamilton's another region that Democrats have been improving in. He also won Cuyahoga, obviously. He won Montgomery. He won Lucas. He also won Wood, which is interesting. So I guess it does kind of give evidence to the theory that Wood's trending away from Democrats because working class voters came out for Obama and they did not for Clinton or Biden. And Delaware County, however, was a Romney plus 24 county. Like, Delaware County voted to the right of a lot of rural counties, like, for example, Licking County or Coshocton County. I do not know anything about either of these counties, if I'll be completely honest here. But nowadays, Delaware is, potentially be blue in 2024. Maybe. I'm not going to predict it yet, but it could be. And these rural areas are GOP plus 50, GOP plus 45. Now, just to look at some of these working class areas, Lorain County was an Obama plus 14 county. Clinton won it by just 0.1%. Then Biden lost it by 2 in 2020. Ashtabula County was an Obama county. Surprisingly, I did not know that. Trumbull County and Mahoning, which I think are the two best examples of working class areas shifting away from Democrats they used to be in. So, these areas were literally in 2010. The Republicans drew a gerrymander of Ohio. And they made Tim Ryan see, which was meant to be a vote sink, and they just drew Mahoning and parts of Portage and Summit to make it like a working class vote sink. The Democrats were supposed to win by 25% every year. Ryan won by 5% in 2020 because these areas are now Republican areas. I kid you not. Republicans drew a seat that was meant to give the Democrats a free seat to sink their votes into one district. Mahoning voted for Donald Trump in 2020. Trumbull voted for Donald Trump in 2020 and 2016. And, if you told Obama that in 2012, he would have laughed at you because he won Mahoning, or he won Trumbull by 22, and he won Mahoning by almost 30. He won it by almost 30. So, when you talk about ancestrally Democrat regions, Mahoning and Trumbull are a really good example of counties that, are still working class. They're predominantly white. They're working class counties, but they're shifting away from Democrats. 2008, Obama did really well in a lot of regions in Ohio, as you can see right here. I don't know why I just looked at this. This is funny. We can look at the ratings. So, electoral vote, Washington Post, Politico, 538, CQ Politics, I don't know what that is. They all had it as they got it right, lean Democrat. DC Political had this likely Republican. MSNBC is lean Republican. Interesting. But, so Ohio won, or Obama won Ohio by 5%. And as you can see, he did really well. He won a few more counties in 2008 than he did in 2012, as you can see right here. He did a little better in areas like Seneca and Sandusky than he did in 2012. He also won Stark County, which so he did a little better, especially in Appalachia out here. He made it really close to all these rural counties, and he also did quite well in, I don't know the names of these counties, but I'll say them. He did well in Jefferson, Belmont, and Monroe. And so, he won Ohio by 5%, which, is really big for a Democrat. He won it by, less than Sherrod Brown in 2018, but, anything being compared to Sherrod Brown's, really impressive. 2004 was really close. Kerry lost it by about 2%, as you can see right here, was kind of his last hope. And he did a lot worse than Obama in a lot of these Appalachian areas. He still won Jefferson, Belmont, and the other county that I'm forgetting. But at the same time, he didn't win Hamilton, he didn't win Wood, he did not win Stark. He did win Stark, but he did not win this county, which I don't know the name, but he also did not win Lake County, which has not gone, I think, Democrat since Sherrod Brown in 2018. Other than that, it's been pretty red. And so Kerry, he did fine in a lot of urban areas. He also did, better, obviously, in, Mahoning and Trumbull, if I can find the margins there. Mahoning, that's an M. Biden lost Mahoning by about, 2% or what was that? I don't remember off the top of my head. He lost Mahoning by, 2%. He lost Trumbull by 10. 2004, which was a year that was a pretty Republican year. 2004, Mahoning voted for John Kerry by 25%, and Trumbull, if we can go down here, voted for John Kerry by 24%. So, that says all you need to know, I think, about some of these working class regions in northern Ohio. If you need any evidence that these areas are going to be Republican in the future and are trending red, I think look no further than Wikipedia 2004 election or 2008, even 2012, because the fact that, Biden, he lost Ohio by more than Kerry did for sure. But he won unlike Kerry, he won the presidential election, and he actually did not need Mahoning or Trumbull to do that. So I guess to go over to my predictions for the state next few years, I think 2022 is going to stay red. I don't really see a scenario for Democrats winning. The only competitive scenario that we could get out of Ohio, because look, 2022 is not going to be a good year for Republicans or for Democrats right now. I'll say it again. Could things change? Yes, always. This is politics. But like the fact that we're like debating whether the environment's going to be, like GOP plus 4, GOP plus 7 really shows that the Democrats have dug themselves into a really deep ditch. I don't think they're going to climb out of it. And if they're, in 2020 they had a pretty solid year. They still lost Ohio. They still lost the generic ballot in Ohio. They still did really poorly in a lot of Ohio House races that they should have been at least competitive in. And in 2022, if they're, down in the national environment, like, because look, 2020 Democrats won the generic ballot by 3%. If they lose it by, like, I'm guessing 4 right now, it might get a little narrower by 2022, but, like, if the elections were held today, they probably lose by 4 or 5%. That's an 8% swing alone nationally, which could be, because Ohio's trending red already, that could even be extrapolated to see, like, a 10-point swing in Ohio, which would mean that they'd be losing the Senate race by, like, 15%, which would be, like, insane. So I'm not going to say that it's that safe, because I don't think that putting Ohio as safe for either party is really a good idea. But at the same time, I don't think that Tim Ryan really has a chance. Again, he might make it competitive if it's him versus Josh Mandel. But, like, the Democrats are so in trouble with the national environment with working class voters that there's just not really a path for them in Ohio in 2022. Same for the governor's race. I don't really know who's going to do better. Like, if it's Mandel versus Ryan, I think Ryan's going to do a little better than Nan Whaley or whoever the Democrats run in this race. It could be John Cranley, too. It's going to be one of the Southern Ohio mayors, though. I think it's going to be either Nan Whaley, mayor of Dayton, or John Cranley, former mayor of Cincinnati. And so I think that Democrats in Ohio are going to have a pretty bad year in 2022. 2024, that's going to be likely Republican, too. I mean, I don't like to predict things that are 3 years out from now, but what I will say is that the Democratic Party in Ohio is not really in good shape. They don't really have a foundation to build on. They might do a little better in areas like Delaware County and Hamilton County, but that's really it. And they're going to keep losing the rurals. They're going to keep losing Mahoney and Trumbull. They're going to keep losing Stark, keep losing Lake. I mean, actually, no. Lake they might do a little better there. But Lorain, Wood doesn't look good for them either. So Ohio is long term for Democrats really bad. 2024, like Kamala Harris, if it's Kamala Harris versus like DeSantis or Trump, it's probably like 13-point Republican state. I'll be honest. If it's like Biden versus DeSantis, it'll probably be like 8 or 9%, similar to 2020. But either way, I don't think the Democrats are going to try to win Ohio, and I don't think they really have a path to win Ohio. So likely Republican all across the board here. And then finally take a look at the redistricting, which, by the way, I talked about this briefly in the last video, but I want to reiterate again because I don't think I did a very good job of saying it. But Ohio redraws their maps every 4 years. So, like, if you can, like they passed a few years ago, they passed a bill or they passed, like, an amendment or something. I think it's either a bill or an amendment. Either way, it became law. They basically changed a lot of the redistricting rules. Like, it's harder to split counties or cities. Like, you can't, like literally, you can't split any cities in Ohio now that are, like, except for literally Cleveland and Columbus because they're too big to be in one congressional district. Like, you can't split Cincinnati, you can't split Dayton, you can't split Toledo. So, yeah, just to put that out there. But right now, I think, in 2024, like, if 2024 is a good year for Democrats, they might flip the first district. Steve Cabot's in a geopolitical city district. Both Cabot and whoever they won in the 13th because Gonzalez is retiring. Whoever they run in both these districts probably going to win 2022 because of how good a year it'll be for Republicans. But in 2024, I think especially this district that's based in Cincinnati because of how blue it's getting, I think we could see it flip. So I think that'll be it for this video. This is quite a long video. I just realized it's going to be about 23 and a half minutes, maybe 24 minutes if I talk for a few seconds longer. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Again, follow me on social media. I'm at UEP_YouTube. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.